What if I told you that a book written nearly 2,000 years ago could change the way you think forever? These are the private thoughts of Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, written not for fame but for himself. What you're about to hear may change your life. Commodus, who succeeded him, undid the work of many campaigns by a hasty and unwise peace, and his reign of 12 years proved him to be a ferocious and bloodthirsty tyrant. Scandal has made free with the name of Faustina herself, who is accused not only of unfaithfulness, but of intriguing with Cassius and egging him on to his fatal rebellion. It must be admitted that these charges rest on no sure evidence, and the emperor, at all events, loved her dearly, nor ever felt the slightest qualm of suspicion. As a soldier, we have seen that Marcus was both capable and successful. As an administrator, he was prudent and conscientious. Although steeped in the teachings of philosophy, he did not attempt to remodel the world on any preconceived plan. He trod the path beaten by his predecessors, seeking only to do his duty as well as he could and to keep out corruption. He did some unwise things, it is true. To create a compeer in empire, as he did with Verus, was a dangerous innovation which could only succeed if one of the two effaced himself. And under Diocletian, this very precedent caused the Roman Empire to split into halves. He erred in his civil administration by too much centralizing. But the strong point of his reign was the administration of justice. Marcus sought bylaws to protect the weak, to make the lot of the slaves less hard, to stand in place of father to the fatherless. Charitable foundations were endowed for rearing and educating poor children. The provinces were protected against oppression, and public help was given to cities or districts which might be visited by calamity. The great blot on his name, and one hard indeed to explain, is his treatment of the Christians. In his reign, Justin at Rome became a martyr to his faith, and Polycarp at Smyrna, and we know of many outbreaks of fanaticism in the provinces which caused the death of the faithful. It is no excuse to plead that he knew nothing about the atrocities done in his name. It was his duty to know, and if he did not, he would have been the first to confess that he had failed in his duty. But from his own tone in speaking of the Christians, it is clear he knew them only from calumny. And we hear of no measures taken even to secure that they should have a fair hearing. In this respect, Trajan was better than he. To a thoughtful mind, such a religion as that of Rome would give small satisfaction. Its legends were often childish or impossible. Its teaching had little to do with morality. The Roman religion was in fact of the nature of a bargain. Men paid certain sacrifices and rites, and the gods granted their favor, irrespective of right or wrong. In this case, all devout souls were thrown back upon philosophy, as they had been, though to a less extent, in Greece. There were under the early empire two rival schools which practically divided the field between them: Stoicism and Epicureanism. The ideal set before each was nominally much the same. The Stoics aspired to the repression of all emotion, and the Epicureans to freedom from all disturbance. Yet, in the upshot, the one has become a synonym of stubborn endurance, the other for unbridled license. With Epicureanism we have nothing to do now, but it will be worthwhile to sketch the history and tenets of the Stoic sect. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, was born in Cyprus at some date unknown, but his life may be said roughly to be between the years 350 and 250 BC. Cyprus has been from time immemorial a meeting place of the East and West, and although we cannot grant any importance to a possible strain of Phoenician blood in him, for the Phoenicians were no philosophers, yet it is quite likely that through Asia Minor he may have come in touch with the Far East. He studied under the Cynic Crates, but he did not neglect other philosophical systems. After many years' study, he opened his own school in a colonnade in Athens called the Painted Porch or Stoa, which gave the Stoics their name. Next to Zeno, the school of the Porch owes most to Chrysippus, 280 to 207 BC, who organized Stoicism into a system. Of him it was said, "But for Chrysippus, there had been no porch." The Stoics regarded speculation as a means to an end, and that end was, as Zeno put It, to live consistently, omicron mu omicron lambda omicron gamma omicron upsilon mu nu omega zeta nu, or as it was later explained, to live in conformity with nature, omicron mu omicron lambda omicron gamma omicron upsilon mu nu omega tau eta phi sigma epsilon iota zeta nu. This conforming of the life to nature was the Stoic idea of virtue. This dictum might easily be taken to mean that virtue consists in yielding to each natural impulse, but that was very far from the Stoic meaning. In order to live in accord with nature, it is necessary to know what nature is, and to this end a threefold division of philosophy is made into physics dealing with the universe and its laws, the problems of divine government and teleology, logic, which trains the mind to discern true from false, and ethics, which applies the knowledge thus gained and tested to practical life. The Stoic system of physics was materialism with an infusion of pantheism. In contradiction to Plato's view that the ideas or prototypes of phenomena alone really exist, the Stoics held that material objects alone existed, but immanent in the material universe was a spiritual force which acted through them, manifesting itself under many forms, as fire, ether, spirit, soul, reason, the ruling principle. The universe, then, is God, of whom the popular gods are manifestations, while legends and myths are allegorical. The soul of man is thus an emanation from the Godhead, into whom it will eventually be reabsorbed. The divine ruling principle makes all things work together for good, but for the good of the whole, the highest good of man is consciously to work with God for the common good, and this is the sense in which the Stoic tried to live in accord with nature. In the individual, it is virtue alone which enables him to do this. As providence rules the universe, so virtue in the soul must rule man. In logic, the Stoic system is noteworthy for their theory as to the test of truth, the criterion. They compared the newborn soul to a sheet of paper ready for writing. Upon this, the senses write their impressions, phi alpha nu tau alpha sigma alpha iota, and by experience of a number of these the soul unconsciously conceives general notions, kappa omicron iota nu alpha nu omicron iota alpha iota, or anticipations, pi rho omicron lambda psi epsilon iota. When the impression was such as to be irresistible, it was called kappa alpha tau alpha lambda eta pi tau iota kappa phi alpha nu tau alpha sigma alpha, one that holds fast, or as they explained it, one proceeding from truth. Ideas and inferences artificially produced by deduction or the like were tested by this holding perception. Of the ethical application I have already spoken. The highest good was the virtuous life. Virtue alone is happiness, and vice is unhappiness. Carrying this theory to its extreme, the Stoics said that there could be no gradations between virtue and vice, though of course each has its special manifestations. Moreover, nothing is good but virtue, and nothing but vice is bad. Those outside things which are commonly called good or bad, such as health and sickness, wealth and poverty, pleasure and pain, are to him indifferent. Alpha delta iota phi omicron rho alpha. All these things are merely the sphere in which Vir